The moment the stars shifted across the viewport of the small medical shuttle, Ryan felt a soft tremor of unease move through him. He was alone except for the faint hum of the ship's systems and the quiet beeping from the life support chamber behind him. The chamber held the being he had saved without understanding how far the decision would take him. Her people had contacted him only hours earlier, asking for help with a tone that carried both urgency and fear. They told him their princess had collapsed during a diplomatic trip near the frontier, and that they detected something rare in his human blood that might help her. He never expected to be singled out in such a way. Yet here he was, watching over someone from a world he had never visited, hoping she would survive. Inside the chamber lay the alien princess. Her name was Leora, a name that sounded soft but carried an air of meaning. Her skin shimmered faintly like polished stone touched by moonlight. She did not look dangerous or strange, only different in a delicate and peaceful way. Ryan had been told she was dying from a rare condition that her species had never managed to cure. They believed his blood contained a natural element that their own bodies lacked, something that could stabilize her failing energy patterns. Though he did not fully understand the science, he agreed after seeing the worry on the faces of her escorts. Helping her had felt like the right thing to do. When he first allowed the extraction of his blood, he assumed it would be simple. A quick procedure, a small risk, and she would recover. But as the treatment began, he learned that the healing process worked slowly and needed his presence near her to guide the merging of human and alien elements. The medical unit had explained that certain species healed best when the donor remained close, allowing the body to adapt gently. So he stayed, watching the soft rise and fall of her breathing, hoping the decision would bring her back. Hours passed in quiet. Ryan sat in the narrow chair beside the life support chamber, rubbing his hands together to keep them warm. He tried to stay awake, but his thoughts drifted until he blinked himself back into focus. A soft tone chimed from the medical console, and a calm voice announced that her energy levels were rising. It was small progress, but enough to ease the tension in his chest. The princess looked peaceful. Her long hair flowed like strands of metallic light, spreading across the cushion under her head. He wondered what her world looked like and whether she had grown up, surrounded by palaces or open landscapes filled with luminous plants. He wondered if she had dreams like humans, or if her mind drifted in a different way when unconscious. Then something unexpected happened. The chamber lights shifted from a pale white to a gentle blue, and a wave of warmth spread through the room. It felt like standing near a rising sun. The healing fields around her activated at a deeper level. Ryan watched as her fingers twitched slightly. A moment later her eyes opened. They glowed softly like twin crystals touched by daylight. She looked at him, and he felt a strange connection flow through the air, as if some invisible thread had been woven between them. She tried to speak, but her voice came out weak and airy. The console translated her words into a soft tone that carried her meaning. She asked where she was and how she had survived. Ryan leaned forward and explained everything. He told her about the emergency call, the treatment, and the unusual reaction between her biology and his. She listened with a gentle calm, blinking slowly as she absorbed his words. When he finished, she gave a faint smile that touched him more deeply than he expected. She thanked him and said that his help had saved not only her life, but something more important. She paused as if choosing her next words carefully. Rion felt a quiet curiosity growing. He asked what she meant. She looked at him with eyes that carried both strength and vulnerability. She explained that her people had placed much hope on her mission. She had been traveling across neighboring systems to build trust with other species and prevent rising tensions. Her sudden illness had threatened to break the fragile ties they worked so hard to create. Surviving meant she could continue her mission. It meant her people had a chance to maintain peace rather than drift into fear and distrust. Ryan nodded, feeling the weight of her words. He had never imagined his simple human blood could play such a meaningful role. Yet the moment was not heavy. Instead, it felt warm and hopeful, like a dawn after a long night. Liara continued to rest while she recovered. The healing process still needed time, so Ryan stayed by her side through the long night. They began to speak more freely as her strength returned. She told him about her world, a place where rivers glowed under the twin moons and trees pulsed with soft lights during the quiet seasons. She spoke of her people's traditions and how they honored both the sky and the soil. He listened with fascination. In return, he told her about Earth. He described forests filled with rustling leaves and oceans that stretched beyond sight. He explained how humans worked, lived, and dreamed. Their conversations flowed with surprising ease. She asked about human emotions and how people made choices when fear and hope pulled in different directions. He explained that it was rarely simple. Humans rarely acted with perfect logic. They made mistakes, but tried to learn from them. She listened with curiosity and often paused to think before replying. She seemed to enjoy the differences as much as the similarities. At one point, the room fell quiet. Liara looked at him with an expression he could not fully understand. She said that something unexpected had happened during the healing process. The merging of their energies had created a bond that her species called a resonance thread. It formed only during life-saving exchanges when one being's essence reached another in a moment of deep vulnerability. She said the thread was harmless but meaningful. It allowed them to feel each other's presence in subtle ways, like sensing a heartbeat from afar or understanding a word before it was spoken. Ryan was surprised. He felt no pain or discomfort, but he did notice something new. When he looked at her, he felt a gentle calm. When she smiled, he felt warmth inside his chest. He wondered if that was the resonance. She assured him it would fade slowly over time, unless both sides wanted to maintain it. He found the idea strange, yet beautiful. It was like a connection beyond words, shaped by both chance and choice. The hours continued. Her strength grew until she could sit upright. She touched the wall of the chamber and breathed deeply. The color returned to her face, and the shimmer of her skin brightened. The medical console confirmed that her energy levels had stabilized. She could return to her ship soon, but she did not seem eager to leave. She asked Ryan to accompany her when her guardians arrived. She said it would mean a great deal to her people to meet the one who saved their princess. Ryan hesitated at first. He was not used to attention or formal gatherings. He preferred quiet moments and simple tasks. But seeing the sincerity in her eyes made him reconsider. He agreed. When her royal shuttle arrived, it shimmered like a moving constellation. A group of her guardians stepped forward. They carried themselves with grace and offered respectful gestures toward Ryan. They guided both of them aboard, and the interior of the ship glowed with gentle colors that shifted like living tapestries. It was unlike anything Ryan had seen. The walls seemed to produce a soft hum that soothed the mind. As they walked through the corridor, Liara stayed close to him, explaining the purpose of each chamber and the meaning behind the designs. It was clear she had grown up surrounded by culture and symbolism that shaped her every thought. They reached the central hall where her council awaited. The council members stood in a semicircle, each wearing garments that reflected their individual roles through subtle patterns. They welcomed Liara with relief and joy. When she introduced Ryan, they offered gestures of deep respect. Their voices echoed softly through the hall as they thanked him for saving the life of their princess. Their gratitude felt genuine, not formal or rehearsed. They told him that his actions had strengthened the bridge between their species in ways they could not measure. Liara stepped forward and explained that the resonance thread between them meant he had become a part of their history. Ryan felt both humbled and overwhelmed. The council invited him to stay with them for a while, if he wished. They said he could learn about their world, and they could learn more about his own. For a moment, he struggled to respond. He had never imagined such an invitation. But before he spoke, he looked at Leora. Her expression was calm but hopeful. He realized that she wanted him to stay not out of duty, but out of genuine appreciation for the connection they had formed. He agreed to spend a short time with them. The council seemed pleased. Leora led him deeper into the ship to show him a viewing room where the stars unfolded in a wide arc across the sky. As they stood together, the universe stretched out before them. She thanked him again, not as a princess, but as someone grateful for the kindness of another. She said the thread between them would guide their understanding of each other's worlds. Ryan felt a quiet warmth settle in his chest. He looked at her and realized that saving her had changed more than one life. It had opened a door to a new chapter for both of them. Their journey had only begun. The stars continued to glitter beyond the viewport as the shuttle moved toward her home world.